So the Batman is out now. I saw it a few days ago. Loved it. I have very little to complain about this movie. I am primarily a Marvel fan, but before I really got into Marvel, I loved Batman. And the way that happened was I played the Arkham games when I was younger, and that was my introduction into my official introduction into Batman. I love the games, the dark tone, the secrets you discovered in the games, the world around you, and I got that. I can't help but think of the games that I played as a middle schooler when I was watching this movie. Although I'm aware that this movie primarily got its inspiration from The Long Halloween and other comics. I'm loving how gritty, grimy this movie is. But at the same time, Gotham feels alive. This is the most alive I think we've seen Gotham in any Batman movie. Every location, Iceberg Lounge, Riddler's Hideout, Wayne's Tower, wherever, it has a story behind it. You see it in the detail. There's a story behind every detail. And that's what I loved about the Arkham games. There's just so much detail and so much secrets to discover. There's a story behind everything in the games, and that's what I got from this movie. Now, Robert Pattinson as Batman, this is without a doubt the most faithful, accurate Batman we have seen on the big screen. This is a movie that finally understands who Batman is as a character. He's a detective, he's lonely, depressed on the inside. It just sticks to the core elements of Batman. Not to say that past movies have done a worse job. Absolutely not. I mean, I absolutely love the Dark Knight trilogy, but I will say Pattinson is a better Batman than Bale. Just because, again, it just sticks to who Batman is and he's always been in the comics, really. The rest of the cast does a great job as well, especially Paul Dano as Riddler, who actually scared me. He actually scared me, especially in that interrogation scene. That's a scene that really just, I almost forgot to breathe. Because the Riddler was such a menacing character in this movie. He was like so realistically psychotic. Andy Serkis's Alfred I liked. I wish we could have seen more of him though. But I liked that we kind of got a different take on his relationship with Bruce Wayne. It's a little more strained when we first see them, but it does pull at the heartstrings, like in that hospital scene. Which, by the way, when Bruce Wayne says in the beginning of the movie, "Alfred, leave me alone, you're not my dad," I was like, oh, Alfred's gonna die, isn't he? But thank God it didn't happen. He didn't die. He almost did though. And we got that very heartfelt scene in the hospital, which is great. Some Easter eggs that I picked up on. When Falcone, tomato, calls Batman Zorro, that's obviously, as us Batman fans know, Zorro is inspiration for the character of Batman. And not only that, but the night that Bruce Wayne's parents were killed, they had just come from the Monarch Theater seeing the Mark of Zorro. Hush! He is not a character in this movie, but it was interesting to see how they basically referenced him and incorporated the spirit of Hush into the story. Because that's what, the spirit of Hush is there, if not the character himself. Now, some of my favorite moments in this movie. Definitely the opening, with the opening monologue, and we see the criminals running scared from the side of the bat signal. That's the absolute perfect opening for a Batman film. You see that scene and you know, alright, here we go, this is the Batman. The car chase, the Batmobile, ferocious. That was a furious scene. It's one of the most intense chase scenes or car scenes I think has ever been filmed. So there's so many scenes in this movie that just absolutely gets your adrenaline pumping, but that was wow. Also the ending scene where he's leading the Gothamites out of the flooded arena. So inspiring, so filled with hope. That's one of the best final acts in any Batman movie ever, or any superhero movie really. I mean, that scene right there is the definition of what a superhero is and who Batman is. Also, I was just gonna note, I like the new gadgets that we've seen from this version of Batman, especially the wingsuit. That was interesting to me, because usually he just uses his cape to glide, but now he's got a full wingsuit that I guess was from his cape, or it was built in his suit. I don't know, I don't remember. But I don't think we've seen that before in any like movie or anywhere else, at least not that I've seen, not that I can recall. So I thought that was really cool, a different gliding method for Batman. Some minor complaints. I love this movie so much, I don't really have any real complaints or dislikes about it. But I guess I would say maybe the F-bomb in the beginning of the movie, or in the first 30 minutes or so in the movie. It seems very forced and out of place. Now, PG-13 movies, they can have at least one, maybe two F-bombs and still say PG-13, but I feel like this F-bomb could have been placed somewhere else in the movie. I don't know, to me it just didn't feel right. And the biggest complaint, I guess, for a lot of people is that this movie's too long, which doesn't really bother me, because every scene in this movie feels like there's a purpose. There's a purpose to it being in the movie. Except if there was a scene I had to choose to take out of this movie, it's definitely the scene with the unnamed, unseen Arkham patient. I laughed actually when I saw that. I saw him credited as in the end credits. Because it's so obviously the Joker. I kind of chuckled at that. Yeah, that scene doesn't really connect to anything else going on in the story, while every other scene in the movie does have a purpose, so you could just taken that out. But it was clearly to allude to a possible appearance by the Joker in a sequel. I don't know, maybe. Alright, that's my review of The Batman. I love it so much. I can't wait to see it again. This movie has stuck with me so much ever since I saw it. I've not felt about any movie like this in a while. And maybe that's a bias because I do love Batman so much. But anyway, this movie is definitely getting an 8 out of 10 from me, and I will see you at the next React. I'm Batman!